Hello everyone, Zane here and welcome to another Final Fantasy XIV video. So today I'm going to show you guys what to sell as a culinarian to make some gil in Dawntrail. Now before we continue with this video, if you guys want early access to my gil making guides as well as the items list of everything that I sold ahead of time, consider becoming a YouTube member or Patreon supporter for just $1 a month. You also get custom emotes, a badge next to your name, as well as your name at the end of my videos, and so much more. So consider becoming a member today. So a huge disclaimer, as always, make sure that you check your market board to see which one of these items are selling the most. This way you guys don't waste time selling something that just doesn't want to move. Now the one thing on this list is probably going to get trumped in 7.2 when we get new raid food. So don't expect this food to be consistent after 7.2. So I do want to point out that most of these are not culinarian recipes. They're mostly culinarian adjacent. This means that you can get them through culinarian through other means. Alright, so the first thing on this list is going to be the rroneek steak. Now this is used in, of course, crafting, but also used in Grand Company turn-ins. So the steaks themselves, people are just bodying them to hell, and they're doing 99, which mostly will never sell. But most people who do buy them are probably mass crafting, but I like to stick to low quantities because I feel like they buy out the most. But it's going to be your discretion how you want to sell them. I would go with low quantities like 10, 20 at a time, but don't expect to rely on these too much. Next is going to be the raid food, which determination and critical hit is the maximum here, and this is the one I sold the most. Alright, I usually do with stacks of 30, so they're going for $29.85, and they definitely are selling, as you can see here, by the past 2 days. And I will show you guys my retainers in a bit. So those are the only two items that I crafted personally. The stuffed peppers and the nasi goreng wasn't really something that I focused on, even though the stuffed peppers sold more, but I definitely would focus on just these two. So next is the obvious one, condensed solution, which is going for $93.90, and people are selling these 99, most likely bots. But as you can see, someone's just botting out the ones right here. But yeah, don't go too high. I like to do 10 to 20 at one time. Next is the old ruby red dye, which is something that I definitely see sold the most, which I'll show you a little bit. So they're going for 14,000 again. Ishkar restoration. The condensed solution is orange scripts. And as you can see, they are selling quite nicely. So I did try to do the other ones, dragoon blue, which you can see is twice as much as the ruby red, but I did not see them fly off the shelves as much as ruby red did. So as you can see here, the sales history for the blue is all over the place, probably because I guess it's too deep of a blue, and maybe it's too high of a price. And next is of course the Materia. So of course I went with grade 12, and then I started doing grade 11. So grade 12 is still going for 26,000. They were in the 30,000s, but because people undercut, they went down to 26,000. And as you can see, the sales history, a little bit over everywhere with the quantities, but I try to stick with 10 each. And then of course the grade 11s, going for 8,000, a lot less than the grade 12s, but it is what it is. They still sell quite nicely. So that's going to be it for the control materia. Now, for these ones here, these are going to be from the Ishkar Restoration and the Emotes. Now, somebody did recommend me selling these since they were going for 300,000 or more on their server. So we have the lean, we have the bread, we have the read, the insist, the high five, and then the broom. And the well bread one goes for I think 800 or 900 skyscripts, and the rest go for 1800. So these are going to be a slow burn because they are not very high in demand. But if you're patient enough, you can make quite a lot of gil. So this one here, the lean, goes for 250k at the least. And as you can see, they don't sell too often, but when they do, it's a huge payout. I'm currently working on my pterodactyl mount, so that's why I was able to get some of these. Well, bread is the lowest because they're the cheapest at 149k. See, they're all over the place here. But they are consistent on the same price. Now we have the read emote, which is almost 300k. the insist emote, which is almost 350k. We have the high five, which is the one I sold the least, so I could probably would avoid this one. And then we have the broom emote, which I think was the one that sold the most. 234, which is the highest, which has been the most consistent one. Usually people like to do this when they're just like AFK and Limsa. And the last two are hairstyles. These are the ones I sold the most, Modern Legend and Saintly Style. This is going for almost 370k. Just like the emotes, be very patient that these will sell eventually. And then Modern Legend. This is going for 325k, and again, a slow burn. Again, this person definitely misclicked and went way lower. But yeah, that's basically everything for culinarian. Like I said, everything else is through Ichika Restoration and of course scripts, and of course the last two are basic items that people use the most. Alright, so now to check my retainers of all the gil that I made. So as you can see here, I made around 3 million, 2 million, so that's 5, 6 million, and of course the thousands add up to another million, so it's around 7 million gil. So this one here, I believe, was the dye. I sold one mount, which I had to undercut to high heaven because no one was buying it. But here's the ruby red, some dragoon blue. So all the dyes were in this retainer. I still have a couple left over. This one here, I believe, was my Materia. Nope, this is all the emotes and hairstyles I sold, which I sold a lot. So this was from the 10th. I sold one trike from the scratch tickets. So from the 10th all the way up to the 15th was all my emotes and hairstyles. Next one is going to be the solution and Materia. So here's some solution. And then I mostly stuck with Materia because I knew they would sell more. So this is from the 9th all the way up to the 15th. I usually focus more on Materia and then the condensed solution, but Materia is slowing down the sales, so I switched over. And this one here was the food. So here is where I started on the 9th, tried the sea goreng, didn't go very well, so I switched over to the stuffed peppers. I tried selling the tea because most people do these for the leaf quests in Endwalker, but they didn't take, so I just stuck with that and switched over to these here. And that is where I got all my gil for culinarian. So culinarian used to be the powerhouse gil maker of 14, but unfortunately that fell apart. So that is everything that I have sold to make some gil with culinarian and dawntrail as of 7.1. As 7.2 and 3 come along, most likely culinarian will spike up again when we come up with new food for raiders and crafters and gatherers alike. Alright, so the next one will probably be another gear class. I don't know which one I'm going to go with next, but I'm definitely glad to get off culinarian for now. Alright, so that's pretty much going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to check out the rest of my channel for more Final Fantasy XIV content, and I will see you guys in the next one. Happy selling! And that's it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you're new for more Final Fantasy XIV content and help with the YouTube algorithm. If you guys want to support my channel even further, consider becoming a YouTube member, Patreon supporter, or help me on Ko-Fi. The links for those will be in the description down below, as well as my Discord. And an extra special shout out to the members on screen. So until next time, if you ever walk in the glorious light of Lord Bahamut, and always remember to keep forging ahead.